Hello there, it's Mike.
And Katie.
It's episode 202.
M3GAN and more.
This week on Cup of Rad. Hi there, we are back with another episode.
The fancy, announcer.
It's how it is. It's direct and straightforward.
There we go, a little bit.
Today's news.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, let's see. We're kind of mellow.
Yeah, very mellow.
Well, that's why we have coffee in hand.
Yes, coffee. Here.
The coffee.
So, James Gunn announced their first slate for their Chapter 1 of the DC Expanded Universe, or whatever they're calling it. It's Gods and Monsters. Announced that there will be a Superman film in 2025 called Superman Legacy, and everything seems to be looking to be that it's going to be based a bit more off of the Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely All-Star run. Because that's all the images they keep using.
Oh, okay. That would be a real bait and switch if it wasn't going to be based on that.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
These look pretty, but we're not going to use this for the movie.
But it sounds like everything that's going on with this phase or chapter, whatever they're calling it, is going to be based more in an actual, from a comic. Because even Supergirl World of Tomorrow, I think it was called, is based off the Tom King run. And they also cited that The Brave and the Bold is going to be based off Grant Morrison's run on Batman. And it's going to introduce Damian. Most of the promotional materials they've shown has been Grayson in the suit, not Bruce, which will be quite interesting if they decide to do that. But they recently shared other ones that was actually Morrison's run when Batman was in the suit. So who knows?
So hopefully all the marketing is correct.
Who knows? I
do know that he specifically mentioned Damian would be Robin, though.
Yeah,
so.
I think it'd be interesting if it was actually Grayson in the suit, because Grayson was more of a father to Damian versus Bruce.
Oh, really? Okay.
Especially in that run, right? Because Bruce was dead at the time, or traveling through space and time.
Really?
Yeah, he was shot by the Omega beam.
Oh, okay.
Bullety thing that sent him back in time.
Okay, I remember that now, and he had to work his way.
And there was Caveman Bruce and Pilgrim Bruce and Pirate Bruce.
The Pilgrim Bruce.
Which, at the same time, I was really sad that DC Direct, because at the time McFarlane wasn't making the toys, because it was years ago, didn't actually bring out action figures based on those ridiculous covers.
Right? I remember you saying that.
Where was the Caveman Bruce with the bat, on him, and the Pilgrim suit that had the ears? Bat? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was like a dinosaur prehistoric bat.
Nice.
Or the pirate Batman.
Right? That would be amazing.
Right? So.
Lost marketing on that one there.
So, but yeah. So expect everything Damian to fly off shelves.
Yeah.
I've read articles about that the Authority, because that is a Wildstorm thing, their books are starting to fly off because they're getting a movie as well. So yeah,
there's quite a mix of TV shows and movies as well, right? Because there's going to be a Waller series, and that'll be
the Mascara series.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. I am cautious about accepting anything new Wonder Woman. The idea of a series sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm all for having it based on Themyscira, because then you have more of the mythology opens up for that. Yeah. So I'm all for that. I really hope that they did such a good job of casting the actual Amazons in the movie, but then Wonder Woman just she wasn't terrible by all means, but I just think they could do better with it. So I think
this is a reboot, right?
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they see some of those things. That would be really cool. So I mean, I'm all for always something Wonder Woman, but it's a little just I'll believe it when I see it.
That is true. That is true.
But James Gunn does have, you know, I do really trust his instincts and his plan and his ideas. So hopefully.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what'll come out of it. They seem to be talking more at story for first, less producer slash director.
Hell, we've never heard them discuss a phase and a coherent plan.
Yeah, that is true.
So there's that.
We're supposed to also see a Booster Gold, Swamp Thing movie, and a Lanterns show. That's with Hal and John Stewart. So yeah, so curious to see.
I mean, if they can actually make all this happen, then it would definitely bring them back into people's minds, opposed to just thinking of Marvel in the world of
yeah. Right? So you know, we're curious to see. I'm sure it will be a while before we actually see and hear more about it, but and yeah, I'm really curious to see if they'll be able to pull this off with any, you know, amazingness to it. Everything else that's not part of this chapter will be rebranded with the Elseworlds label. So.
Oh yeah, so like the Batman and
so Reeves
Aquaman
is the Batman.
Too, or no, Aquaman is still part of this, right? Okay, so the Batman
and the Joker, those are the only two.
Oh yeah,
right now. But they're Elseworlds too. But I'm assuming that means then they're going to be dabbling with the fact that they're going to be making an Elseworlds subtitle for things that they'll probably then
allow that. Well, and that's not bad to allow a place to have some of those ones that are a little bit off, just so then they don't limit themselves to potentially missing out on a good story.
Yep. So that's the DC news. Nice. In the news.
That's it. Worked out perfect for you.
Okay. So I went looking, and I looked at the McFarlane John Kent Superman figure.
He looks a lot.
I really like John Kent. I like his suit.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't pull the trigger on it because of the stupid laser eyes that they gave him.
He looks so angry all the time then.
Yeah, he's never gonna have John's softness that makes him, you know, the Superman he is. Because he just has laser eyes.
How often does he have laser eyes in the comics?
Not that often.
Okay. Well, obviously, I guess.
To be like, yeah, because he's a talker before he's a fighter, right? So it's really weird that they gave him.
It's an odd choice.
Yeah. And also his hair doesn't look the same. It's just, I don't know. He needs an alternate head. So
yeah,
it's just, yeah. And that was the thing too, that the Hush Superman that they would have looks really cool based on the Jim Lee art. Like the Superman, like it looks great because it's using that really good Superman body that they used for the Infected and Bizarro. But then he just has the angry face, right, with the laser eyes too.
Oh yeah. So
it's like,
well, they had to not skip out on the laser eyes. I mean, you finally have someone who has laser eyes. Apparently, they really wanted to.
So there's red dots. I just wish McFarlane would, in some cases, even if the price went up a little bit, like just include like the alt head, like the.
That would make sense in that case specifically.
Yeah. That was my little rant about McFarlane. Like, I still really like their products. I just, some of the stuff there is missed opportunities because the ones that I've been wanting to get only come with like angry faces or laser eyes.
I saw that you had sent me that they're doing Dark Knight figures.
Yeah.
As well. Some of those actually look pretty cool. Two-Face and Joker.
Yeah. Those ones look really good.
Yeah.
Because they don't have laser eyes.
Right.
And they all have pretty static faces though too, right? Yeah. Like, that's kind of like, but yeah, that's going to be the next big thing is the Dark Knight from McFarlane.
Is there any anniversary coming up for any of that or no?
I don't think
just working its way through it.
Yeah. Probably getting likeness rights and whatnot.
No, true. Yeah.
You know, because they know it's going to be a big seller.
Yeah.
Because the Build-A-Figure in that wave is Bane.
Oh, okay.
So you have to get that Scarecrow if you want Bane. Because why do you want Bane? Though? You need to have Bane. Why would no one want to have me in their collection? I'm amazing. I broke the bat.
Oh, I'm sorry I brought it up.
I can only think of Bane now because of the Harley show, and that's why he sounds even more like that. This is so lame. But yeah.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
So I got a bunch of new toys recently, and
big box of goodies arrived,
and I am pleasantly surprised. So I would say, because I also gushed about the Archie slash NECA figure. I got the Utrom from the Mirage Comics NECA figure, and as ridiculous as getting a little robot exoskeleton man is, it's a really cool figure. So I highly recommend it if you're into that line. And it looks really good with the Archie slash because of the comic shading.
Yeah.
So I was really, really happy for that one.
I mean, I'm glad the whole figure looks cool, but like the little Krang dude is awesome looking, like weird little brain thing. And I love that it comes out and that the full inside is done too. So it's not like you have to have the Krang in there to actually have the little robot figure, you know. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I recommend that. I got the Last Ronin figure. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was a really good looking figure. A lot of detail in it. So if you're a big Last Ronin fan, definitely try to find that NECA Last Ronin figure. I haven't cracked open the unarmored one yet. But
okay.
From that...
you got your NECA Leo Hunchback.
Yep, the Universal Monsters Cross. It's my least favorite of the line so far, but I'm happy to have it. Only because... It's weird because like Raphael is Frankenstein's monster and he's heavier than the Hunchback, but the Hunchback's bigger.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But because the Hunchback is hollow, because he's a storage shell, he's lighter, but at the same time, he's lighter, but then he's like back heavy. So he kind of wobbles back and forth. So that's my biggest gripe is that, you know, he's kind of wobbly. So I'm curious. I got to figure him out a bit more before I take more photos because he's very uneven matched for standing. Oh, okay. But the detail alone on it is really cool to have. Like there's a spider inside of his shell and he's got like little cockroachy things crawling all over him.
Yeah, that's really he's very cool to look at. Yeah. A lot of different things and he's just such a different style. Like it's not the turtle just painted in that way. Like such a different sculpt to it. Yeah. I think you really get that Hunchback style to it. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool.
So I look forward to seeing when Donnie comes out as the Invisible Man, how that one will pan out.
How that'll play.
So, but I'm really excited that I got that line because it's like mashing together two amazing things, turtles and monsters.
It's perfect.
It's just, it's the perfect thing.
Nice.
So I wonder if they'll ever do modern monsters.
Like what?
Like Jason and
Freddy. Yeah, okay.
That kind of thing.
That'd be kind of fun.
I doubt that they would allow that, but there's always those ones. But
because they're not just the regular monsters, they're actually murderers.
Yes, so, right.
You know, there is a line there.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll do any more with the Universal monsters, like because like they haven't done a Wolfman, they haven't done a Dracula, right?
It is weird they haven't done a Dracula. Oh.
Yeah, like those two seem like they should have been.
There's a creature from the Black Lagoon somewhere in there.
And then there's always like the Martian one as well.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So there might be another wave.
That'd be cool.
But it seems to be because like Splinter's Van Helsing and Casey's Phantom of the Opera. And
they did those.
April is Bride of Frankenstein. So kind of. I always thought Splinter as Van Helsing was a weird choice.
Yes,
it should have been supposed
to be bringing them all together. It should have someone who is the opposite of them. It should be the bad guy.
Yeah, Shredder should have been Van Helsing.
Yes,
because like I always thought it was weird that they made Splinter because it's like I'm off to kill my boys.
Yeah, right? That seems strange.
So, yeah,
okay,
but it makes a very horrific comic idea.
It would be.
So. We watch things.
We did watch things.
We watch things. We watch things. It's a matter of what order we're going to do that in. You know what we're going to do? We're going to get this one out of the way.
Okay.
Kenny Solo movie time.
Oh, we're jumping to this.
Solo movie time. Kenny had solo movie time. Kenny had solo movie time, and it was really weird. I came home near the end of it, and I was like, what the heck are you watching?
Okay.
Kenny solo movie time.
If you didn't catch that, I did find a movie to watch while Mike was at work, so I had my solo movie time. And it had been one that I've been wanting to watch for a while, was Blonde, the dramatized, fictionalized version of Marilyn Monroe's life based on a novel that was written, which is very confusing, of course, because it makes it feel like it's supposed to be a real life thing, like guaranteed actually happened.
I think it's too recent to do alt fiction. Yes. Based on something like that.
And yeah, exactly, right? Without making sure it didn't clarify it at the beginning or the end. And this deserved to have the loosely based on real events like notice, you know?
The film you were about to watch is completely loosely based on an idea someone had that they put in a book. It was published, and we went, you know what? Who cares about doing a true biopic? We want to do this one. Enjoy.
So of course, I mean, I love that style. I love the concept of I would like to learn more, and it still is going to prompt me. It still prompted me to learn more about her. That being said, what a long ass boring movie. Holy moly. It is 2 hours and 47 minutes. It tried to be very arty and avant-garde almost, and like just, it also was really sad. And I know, obviously, someone who lived in fancy Hollywood life and essentially committed suicide at the age of 36, it's not supposed to be a happy life. But even if half of these things are true, which I know that they are because a lot of them are, you know, her marriages, her traumas, her everything, really sad. But it really showcased and drummed up the horrific nature of men, honestly, in that time frame. Like, what a terror! It villainized almost all men except for Adrian Brody played. It was kind of cool. They didn't name people. So you had the ex-athlete, which would have been Joe DiMaggio. You have the it's just ex-playwright. Or no, he's not ex-playwright, the playwright. Arthur Miller, I believe, was Adrian Brody. He was the most decent man in that whole movie. She was married to him for 6 years.
But when I came home, he was in it for a moment, and then he just disappeared, and they never said anything that happened to him.
Yeah, you don't find out why they actually, because after that, it got really weird and trippy. Because we assume it was because she lost a baby that then she just spiraled, and all of a sudden he was gone.
Yeah.
And you just saw the drugs and the alcohol and like the just, she was slipping away and going into, the last you saw him was her coming home asking who he was because she didn't recognize him. So and I know she had gone to a psychiatric hospital at one point for analysis and work and everything. But I mean, her mom wasn't a stable growing up by all means. She was in an orphanage. She was in what I learned 14 foster homes afterwards. It doesn't talk about the foster homes. It just shows her going to an orphanage because her mom went to a psychiatric hospital. But really also played up on the dad issues, the not having a dad around. And like, that was a lot of her trauma then was, and it's a real thing. A lot of women act differently if they have some major dad issues. But that really played up to it. And like, I liked a lot of the style. I liked seeing the happiness, and it was still interesting to learn about, but it was just really convoluted and really clunky. And some of those shots were really drawn out, and then it would just jump from here to there. And then you got lost in, I'm all for flashbacks, but this one was really hard to follow time. And I really wanted to like it more. And I know you had said, you're pretty forgiving. I'm curious to see what you think about it. And I watched maybe half hour of this, and I was just like, what have I done? But then I just couldn't stop because I'm like, well, maybe it'll get better. And then it just ended on such a terrible, the last half an hour of it was really, really hard to watch. Like to the point where you would come home from work. I'm like, yeah, we can totally talk. Just have it on in the background, whatever.
Well, because it was kind of boring. Like there was some cool shots and there's great, but like it was so disjointed. It kept feeling like different films within itself.
Yes.
And I don't know if that was the artistic choice of like trying to show the fractured mind.
Well, and
but it just it wasn't engaging enough though.
So one thing I would say on artistic point, it went back and forth between colored and black and white.
But not when I got home.
No, I know, which was interesting. And I think I'm not going to watch it again. But if I was to watch it again, I'd be curious to try to really pay attention as to when which was which. But I don't know if it was representing more of that switch between Norma Jean and Marilyn Monroe and the reality of versus the fake versus like at what point, and was it used in a certain way, or it felt random though. It didn't feel like it was purposeful, but maybe it was. So I don't know if those different styles was trying to really build up that split aspect, because that was the constant struggle of this character was created, but no one saw her as anything else. And it was always but
it should
really
be, it should be such,
but you should be able to see that, right? All of that horrible things aside, it was really well acted. She did a really good job of conveying to me, the very fragile emotional state that they had. There was some really choice, like uncomfortable shots, but she did a good job of acting that emotion in them, good or bad. Like, so that was, I was impressed with the acting of it. But yeah, there was definitely some shots that were a little gritty and hard to deal with, especially the JFK. That was just an awkward scene to watch. But I guess they're trying to, they really played up the being used aspect that was there. So it's meant to make you kind of feel icky, and it did a good job of that. But overall, unfortunately, I don't recommend this film. I watched it now. No. It is. From
the little bit I watched, it was just not.
And I don't know if it almost tarnishes the concept of then wanting to learn more about her. And I know we shouldn't idolize everything about it, but she did I think she deserves better than this, almost, because
I heard that a lot because it's a fictional one too, because there's a lot of untruths within it as well. That it almost
didn't give her the credit. It focused on the real shady ways to getting into Hollywood and more of the sleazebag stuff of it versus the talent that she would have had. And I think she was a gorgeous woman who she could sing. She, the acting back then, that was a style of acting. Yeah. So, I think she deserves to have more credit. By all means, you shouldn't gloss over the harshness that was there. And obviously it was a combination of trauma and the way the world worked and her difficulty with, creating this character and everything. But it also didn't focus on the positives that she deserves for what she did, for women and everything. So I'm disappointed in that aspect for That's sure. Fair. So, and as I say, it should have explained it more that it was fiction. So.
Oh yeah, I'm ready and willing to stand in a suit and do little beginning things. Yeah. For movies. Oh, okay. I think Netflix should just hire me, and
you'll just be that. You need to be like the warnings ahead of time for things, right? Like Disney does for things, like the following. Yeah. Just so you know, putting it into context. So there you go. Katie Solo movie time was a bit of a flop. Kiddo was laughing. He's like, "Are you going to start your Katie Solo blonde movie watching time because of Legally Blonde and then Blonde?" So now I'm going to find a theme of blonde things.
Blonde things.
It's probably 2 in a row and that's it, but it was 2 in a row theme.
It was a good run. Good run. Good job.
Sorry, following that brief Tina moment there. One quick thing I want to add before we wrap it up with Blonde was what it did make me want to do is cut my hair and curl it and have Marilyn Monroe hair. every single time I see her. I'm like, I wish I could have my hair like that. And then I realize how short it would actually have to be. And I'm like, nope. So I need a Marilyn Monroe wig. That's what I need. There we go.
Get it solo movie time. All she learned was she wants Marilyn Monroe hair. And blonde kind of was weird. Kenny's movie solo time.
So what's next? Oh, sorry.
We are going to roll on the train of movies into more of the Depression Station.
Oh, Depression Station.
Chugga, chugga, chugga. This one was on Disney Plus, part of the Stars Plus, so it's on Hulu, I believe. It is available to rent on most other platforms. It stars Colin Farrell and cue it in, Jesse. I can't hear you, so I'm going to say Mad-Eye Moody.
And Jesse's screaming.
Brendan Gleeson. It's directed by Martin McDonnell. He did In Bruges.
In what?
In Bruges.
I don't even know what
that was the one that they were in together. That's why they're in it together now.
Oh.
So
Matt and Colin were in something. Oh, okay.
So take it away, Katie.
Oh, make that on me. It was the Banshees of Inisherin.
See, you made fun of me. That
I know I did. Inisherin.
It's in is herein.
Yeah, I like it. Inisherin.
Yeah, nice. Is in herein.
I'm sorry for butchering that one completely.
Inisherin.
Mine was better than his.
The Banshees of
Inisherin.
There we go.
Yeah. It's not Inisherin. Inisherin. Maybe it's Inisherin.
Inisherin. Feck off. This podcast has gotten dull. I'm not friends with you anymore.
Oh.
All you fucking do is sit there talking about whatever you're talking about. So this movie, beautifully shot. Beautifully shot.
It was.
Beautifully acted.
Wonderfully acted. Depressing as all hell.
Yeah. Okay, so the one trailer I saw, it looked kind of quirky. I thought it was more of like a...
You want to laugh, Katie? Oh, sit down, he says. What's your comedy, he says.
Yeah, I didn't say it like that. I said, I think it's supposed to be kind of quirky. It was.
It was quirky.
But it was not the quirky I was expecting.
Full drama.
Full drama. This film basically is dealing with depression and people's changes,
crisis in life, and realizing you haven't done what you want to do,
and the struggles of being an outsider and alone, and the changes,
adult friendships.
It was a lot. It was a lot, and then it like you're literally like watching this one man turn another man into the bad guy,
right?
Just so that he has someone else to blame for his inability to become memorable.
Yeah, pretty much that sums it up right there. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And you kept waiting for it to get better and, not better, to wrap up or change course and have some sort of reconciliation. Yeah. And it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Colin Farrell's character goes from being happy-go-lucky,
like the nicest, happiest guy on the island,
and that's what he's known for. He's known for being nice.
Yeah,
you're a nice man, and by the end of it, he's become
angry, bitter.
Yeah, he's still nice, but he's mean. And he realizes he has to be mean.
He's bitter.
Because he has to protect himself from being hurt.
And that's like, you realize that and you're
real.
Like, this is real life.
It was.
Like, this is what happens to real people. Because they get burned, something happens, and you just, you traumatize the good out of you.
Yeah. It was just so... Whew.
It weighs heavy on me just thinking about it all.
Yeah.
And I'm really it was well done film.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was definitely art. But that
like I never was once like on my phone or
Yeah, it wasn't
bored
boring.
or talking. Like it was well, you know.
As I said, I wanted that hope. The whole
Yes.
thing was just hoping
The
for
only
it,
the
and
only
it just kept getting worse.
the only hope he had was his sister left the island.
And she was the one that only there was something positive there, but it just made it worse for him.
Made it worse.
So you're just like, well, shit. This is just worse and worse, and more things worse. And like,
and I'm gonna have to, you know, give the film a 1-star review on some platform, and give the review that there was not a single banshee in it,
that we know of.
Which isn't true, because I believe there actually was a banshee in the film, because they talked about how the banshees, maybe they're not actually what we thought they were. They're actually bored and they're sitting laughing at us. And
then like we thought of it like 24 hours later, we're like, wait a second.
Yeah. And there it was.
Laughing
because
at us.
the ghoul was there.
Yep.
And they mentioned the ghoul.
Yeah.
And it was just so on a spoiler thing, the man is crazy, and he basically tells his friend,
it is Mad Eye Moody.
Yeah, it is. He says, I don't want to be friends with you anymore because I think you're dull.
Yeah.
That's why.
And that doesn't change. Like you think it's gonna change, and it's not. It doesn't change.
So then later on,
we are just gonna spoil it. Huh?
He sits and he says to his friend, you know, if you come near me again, I'm gonna cut off my finger. And he's like, that's funny, right? So then he gets drunk and he stands up to him. And then the guy goes, oh, this is the most interesting you've been. I think I'm friends with you again. Well, then he wakes up and he goes to apologize because I was drunk. I shouldn't have said these things to you. And that pisses the man off, and he cuts off his finger and throws it at his door.
Yep. It was crazy.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah. I was just kind of had that, like, that just happened? Like, I mean, kudos on the follow through, but what the fuck?
But yeah. And then you get to the end and it gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're going to watch it, I don't know, do you want to do a spoiler thing? Because it feels like we could talk about it. We could just say earmuffs for a moment. 2-second earmuffs.
I don't know when we have them come back. We always just do spoilers at the end. 2-second earmuffs, that's too much.
Too little, you mean?
Too little, yeah. I don't know how long to say.
Because I gotta talk about this. I gotta unload. I gotta decompact about this.
Okay, so spoilers for the next 3 minutes.
Okay. So
he cut off all his fingers
and threw them at the man's house. And then the man's petite donkey dies because he eats the fingers.
That was the hardest part of the whole damn movie.
He goes out back. I was
going to cry.
He goes out, but he loves his donkey so much. And he goes out back and the donkey is dead. So then what the guy does, he burns the guy's house down.
Totally fucking worth it. The guy deserved it after all that.
He saves the dog.
His sister had left that same day.
Yeah.
He sees her off. He goes and because they had found the fingers that were already there. And then he goes and sees his sister off. And then he comes back and the donkey's dead. And I was just like, oh my God, this is the one bad day right here. Like,
yeah. And then he goes to him and says, in the morning, I'm going to burn your house down.
With you in it.
You in it. Make sure your dog's outside because I have no quarrel with him.
And he burns his house down. And the guy's in it. He just stayed there. So there again, the depression.
Yeah. He gets out.
After the fact.
And then he sees him on the beach. Colin Farrell's character looks at him and they have a conversation. And he's like, well, now you're square. Your donkey's dead. My house is burnt down. And he's like, no, we're not fucking square.
Because you were supposed to be in that house.
You were supposed to die.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh shit. And that's when you realize the good is all gone.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. That was really sad.
It was so depressing because he was so happy in the beginning because he's like, we're just going to go down and have a pint and shoot the shit and have a good time. And he's just happy. He has his animals and he's happy. And then this one guy decides that he's dim and it destroys him. He becomes a... Yeah. Whew.
It was harsh.
It was heavy.
Right?
But well acted. And even though we saw the journey there, you should go on it. If you feel like you want to see the light run out of a man's face from just living, he doesn't die. It's just everything about life bleeds from him throughout this almost 2-hour film.
I think we're still good on spoilers. I mean, we got 45 seconds. Anything else you want to say?
The ghoul is an old lady.
Yeah,
and she just keeps popping up through it.
Well, she calls the death that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Which is the donkey and the young kid.
Yeah.
Which I really think he killed himself, didn't fall.
Oh, yeah.
But...
Well, we found out he was getting beaten and he diddled him.
Oh, goodness.
So, but yes. Yeah, go check it out. It's a well done film, but it's depressing. It's not, you're not going to feel good after. And if you do, well,
I'm sorry for that.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. I think that was 3 minutes there, just about there.
So yeah, go watch Banshees of Inisherin.
See, if you just say it fast enough, it doesn't matter if you said it wrong or right? Or wrong or right.
Wrong or right. Dead or alive, I'm coming with you. So check that one out. We found another one on Disney Plus. It was called The Menu. This one here, okay, so this one, when I originally saw some of the marketing, I didn't see the full trailer. I don't know what it was, but I only saw like the cooking part of it in the trailers.
I thought it was a cooking show.
Yeah. And like it didn't even like catch my attention. And then when we were on Disney Plus, it said horror, thriller, dark comedy or something. And it was like, what? Hold on. So then we watched the trailer and I was like, okay, we got to check this out. So it stars Ralph Fiennes, Anna Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, and others.
Hoult, I keep forgetting his name.
He's one of those guys who's going to be in everything, and everyone's like, oh, you know.
Who is that again?
Character actor. The directed by a guy that did a lot of TV. So this one here is about going to an exclusive island to have a chef's experience, where they go off and they are...
It's all farm fresh, sea fresh, like everything is on the island,
you know,
right?
yeah, it's not, and it's whatever is that day kind of thing.
It's definitely an experience.
Experience-wise. This film was a trip because it didn't go where I thought it was going to go, but also that was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Right? Because instantly, whenever I mentioned anything to anyone about this film, they immediately thought cannibalism. I'm going to throw that on the table. It's not about cannibalism. So,
yes,
which was refreshing.
And that's what I thought too. As soon as we hear cooking and horror, we're like, oh, they're eating humans.
Yeah.
It had to be, right?
So...
And yeah, that was cool that it was not.
Yeah. This was another one where I felt it was really well acted, and its pacing was very intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I was engaged through it, and I think it's something. It falls in that same line of some of those other ones that Fox has done or Searchlight has done, especially like Barbarian. This even Ready or Not. Like they've got these ones that are kind of going under the radar that are intriguing and interesting. Now this isn't a traditional like horror, it's more of a psychological thriller
with horrific elements.
Because at the same time so I would say
I would actually watch this again because it was very interesting to see it lay out, and I would almost like, now that I know everything on the characters, like to see how they interact some more again.
Differently.
It's almost like that murder mystery thing.
Yeah.
Where you want to be like, okay, now I don't see the other side. Now I want to see all the Easter eggs that were laying there and the foreshadowing that was there that you didn't even realize.
Yeah.
So the concept of watching it again sounds very interesting.
Yeah. So totally. So yeah, go check out The Menu. That's our little moment of it. Now going forward, we're going to spoil a bit because
if we can't talk about it all without spoiling it. Sorry, I can't have a time limit for something. I'm just going to say quickly do it in spurts and skip ahead.
Because we do have one more review.
You know what to do. But sorry, we're spoiling.
But you know, at the same time, we always love to do out of order spoilers, so sometimes it helps.
All over the place, right?
Now I'm trying to think where to start. You know, so the it starts out pretty normal. Mm-hmm. It feels pretty like, oh, they're just eating, and you're getting to see the different interactions, and then little things pop up like they know things about, and everything's procured for the people that are there. Well, Anna Taylor-Joy's character isn't supposed to have been there.
Well, when he first says you're not supposed to be here, I'm like, well, this seems hinky.
Yeah, right.
This seems like, why not have her there?
Right.
Know?
Because you find out that everyone is supposed to die.
And they all were chosen basically for sins or problems that they've had. Mm-hmm. And he's going to basically just like take them down with him.
Yeah. Because he's tired of being part of the system. There's no joy left.
I think that was what I really liked with him, that he wasn't even like... I didn't see it coming on how sure he was, but how broken he was. Mm-hmm. That he had just gotten, sucked out of the joy of everyone being, no matter what you do. And I think it would speak to anyone in the service industry. Yeah. That concept that you are continuously trying to be better. You're out thinking, out creating, doing all these things, the next best thing, but there will always be someone to bitch about it and say that it's not enough and it's not good enough. And even if you reach that high level, then to maintain it and to constantly outdo yourself, it is
exhausting.
The epitome of burning yourself out. Yeah. And at some point, then any of that joy of whatever you originally found is going to be gone. Yeah. Because there is no fun, there's no freedom, there's no excitement about it. It's just, as you would say, exhausting. And I thought that was such a cool concept, and it can be applied in so many different ways, and it's so real. Yeah. So
because you've got the people that are there that, you know, they've 14 times or something. Yeah. And they couldn't even name one dish.
Yeah. Right? And that was just like, you see that and you're like, that is heartbreaking, because how many people have that ability to have these experiences and then they just don't even care about them anymore. And so like, what's the point of these things that people pour their heart and soul into, and it just becomes another Tuesday to them. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Well, then like the when they had the bread, and he was like, well, you know, you don't get the bread. Mm-hmm. You get the stuff that goes on the bread, but you don't get the bread. And then they're like, well, what do you mean? We'll just pay for more. We'll just give you more money. Mm-hmm. Right? Like those kind of things.
It's like,
right?
Oh, but no, remember, you're out this class. Yeah. Sorry. You always want to pretend like you're outside of this class. So and now you're still trying to take the poor food away too. Yeah. You know, and I love that commentary on that. I thought that was really interesting, because I know myself, I would be like, what are you talking about? I want bread. Yeah. But I also had to check that and be like, well, it's a really interesting idea, though, that it really was supposed to be nourishing and simple and basic, but even that we put fancy sauces on it and we make it, you know, high end, right?
Yeah. I really think I'll never look at s'mores the same way, though.
100%.
That end scene with the s'mores. Oh my God.
I love his description of them.
Yeah. So
it was hilarious, because the following day I went to a restaurant and there was s'mores on the menu. And one of the guys was like, s'more? They have s'mores. How cool is that? I'm like, don't say anything. I'm like, because literally I was just like, all I could hear was Ralph Fiennes just going off about how s'mores are like the worst thing ever created. I was like, oh, this is terrible. He's so excited, and all I can think of is that. I thought it was hilarious timing.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
So,
it was brutal to watch, even though what happened with Nicholas Holt's character, though. Even though he was a complete asshole. Mm-hmm. But like, the fact that all he had to do was take, you know, because he forces them to cook a meal in front of everyone. Like right there, you've got every ingredient you can ever use.
Anything you ever want.
Because he's talking so much about, like, he's watched all the shows, he knows all the lingo, he knows all these things, blah, blah, blah. But he can't cook.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gets in there and he serves him raw, basically lamb,
Mm-hmm.
just with butter and shallots and leeks.
Mm-hmm.
And he just whispers in his ear, and then Holt goes off and kills himself.
Right? I was just like, oh my goodness.
It was like, yeah. So it's like, it's just...
It was a real cautionary tale for that know-it-all person that just feels like, well, I've watched it enough on there, so I can do it too.
Yeah.
And then you get to that point where you're all judgy about it. And,
yeah.
You know, it's those people that just get a little too attached to learning about that stuff. And so,
but yeah, there's a lot of just oddities within it, and it just keeps going. And
then when he had that coworker that was able to stab him because he had acted inappropriately to her, and like that was like real feeling, and it was just like, oh goodness, this is really getting twisted.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But hey,
the cheeseburger.
And that was like, as much as that was a simple scene, that was a very poignant, like on her part to come up with that idea. Because with seeing that, but yeah, I really liked this film.
I did too.
I really thought it was interesting. It was very well paced, and just how they even like filmed like some of the scenes with the food looked like that of like Chef's Table kind of thing, where like it had like what it was called, font across the screen.
Yeah,
and yeah, It is one, I probably could watch this one again. I was very intrigued by it. And even though the journey end is there, it feels like there's still more to find, those breadcrumbs that were probably laid out before. But like,
well, all the different characters, there's so many stories. Like the guys that were just throwing name dropping and they had money, but then they were just, frauds.
Yeah.
And there's just so many different stories, and yet it balanced it all.
Yeah.
And Chef, you feel he's supposed to be the bad guy, but you're also like, nope, I totally understand how he's gotten like this.
Yep.
And
why he is the way he is.
Yeah, I'm kind of okay with what he's doing right now. And it's a weird, uncomfortable thing to be able to say that.
Yeah.
But what I feel worse about is all of the staff. But it seems like it was just, they were all okay.
It was like a cult almost.
And yeah, so that's the only open area that never really talked about as to why, except for the guy that killed himself as part of the scene.
Oh yeah,
remember that?
Because
I'm like, what's happening? Why is there a sheet being laid down? What's going on? What is he gonna do? And then I was like, okay, is the cannibalism gonna come in now?
Yeah, right?
Is it gonna kill someone? That's what I originally thought.
Yeah, is this do you gotta come eat his guts or something? Like,
but like. Yeah, that was shocking. Yeah. Like I full on jumped with that. I'm like, oh shit, this is where this is going. Yeah. So but yeah, it was a good movie though.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable.
Very different, very unique in the way that it approached it. And I liked how it all laid out. It kind of felt like a murder mystery thing almost, with what's going on and like trying to figure out why they were all there and yeah. It was a oddly satisfying end too.
Right? So go check out the menu. It's on Hulu in the States, I believe, and Disney Plus, Star Plus, most other places. And now the main movie, M3GAN or M3GAN.
M3GAN?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. What is it? We got to remember what M3GAN stands for again. It's something. She's a robot.
Yeah.
She's an android.
She is.
I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, so M3GAN tells the story of a little girl whose family has died.
Wow.
Only to be given to her aunt, who doesn't really know her and is totally in the I'm single and I'm a programmer and I don't have time for this.
Yeah. She seemed like she was going to be, like really dig into this, and then you realize when she's talking about it, you're like, yeah, no, you were totally not ready to take care of a child.
So she creates M3GAN because this is like this thing she's been working on secretly, and M3GAN's supposed to then protect and help and basically parent while she works.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole idea. Well, then the girl creates a bond with M3GAN, and M3GAN then realizes that she needs to protect her. And the AI, they don't put any safeguards on the AI, and the AI just takes off and is able to then do its own thing, which involves murder.
Well, if you were taken, it's that extreme aspect, and the issue with a robot that doesn't understand or isn't fully programmed to have a stopping point and a morality. But if your core directive is to protect someone from physical or emotional harm, and someone is causing emotional or physical harm to that person, you're like, well, apparently that person's got to go.
Yep.
It's not programmed to solve it in any other way. You're saying to pretend and to protect her from it.
Yeah.
So what's the easiest way to protect her? It's to get rid of it, not to help her deal with the issues after the fact.
Yeah.
That's not protecting. That's, being there as a friend idea, right? M3GAN stands for Model 3 Generative Android.
Ooh.
So.
Okay.
Now we know.
Awesome. Good job.
I contributed. Yay.
So when this movie first started, I was a little worried. I was super excited to watch it, but some of the dialogue and some of the way things were, it was kind of really clunky feeling. And it was a little disjointed feeling. And I was kind of like, oh crap, I was really excited for this. And then it got better. And then I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So that's what you get.
No. Okay. I was intrigued by this. I wasn't nearly the level of excitement that you had, but I wanted to know more why there was such an attachment to this thing and why she would have created. I didn't realize that Gemma was not her mom, and that makes that piece there, it made a whole lot more sense as to why you would have had an android for your kid. For this, and the extreme attachment with that was because she was trying to create someone to do her job for her.
Yeah.
And so I like that piece, that it was more interesting once that was explained. I'm like, okay, well, this kind of makes more sense. And then it was like a different. It wasn't quite a Chucky feel because Chucky was being a person and all that sort of stuff, but it was interesting to see it really take over and change things, and they did a good job of blending almost really making feel like it was real, that could happen.
Yeah.
And again, a cautionary tale about what happens when we try to just use too much technology for different things to take over. And so I really did enjoy it. It turned into, it was slower paced at the beginning, but then when it really got into it, and then you started getting the really creepy vibes from it.
Yeah.
Then it did pick up pace, and overall I thought the concept and the story was really interesting.
Oh, totally. I really feel that this is something that could and will happen. This is one of those times where, the artists are telling the scientists, be warned, and they're all like, but look what we can do.
Just because you could doesn't mean you should.
I feel like scientists laugh at that though.
Yes, they do.
They're
like, no,
that was made by a writer.
We should,
right?
Yeah.
All I see is you putting up a roadblock for my challenge. What's the next thing?
Yep.
That's why they're creating.
But they're paying me so much money for it.
That's why they're creating AI to do art and stuff, is so that they don't have anyone to question them.
Oh,
get rid of the artists.
Get rid of the artists so they can stop telling me cautionary tales as to why I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
That's smart. I mean, it's horrific, but that totally makes sense.
We have AI now to do everything. You can even guess what, kids?
No.
You can find AI generators to do your homework.
Did I tell you though that the show that I went to, the guy's acceptance speech, he works he has a co-op office type thing. Company, and his acceptance speech was AI generated, and he specifically stated it. I wanted to see what would happen. He's like, basically, I plugged in what I was potentially winning. What, here are the details. Who should I the thanking my family, and like it sounded so like everything else, but it embellished the thanking the family, and it gave all the little happy notes to say, and it sounded good, but it sounded fake. It sounded like everything else. There was no real authenticity to it. And it was. And I'm like, oh my God. He's like, so there you go. That's what it could do was an AI generated thank you speech.
Yeah.
Just by plugging in a few key details.
Yeah.
So
it's terrifying when you think about it.
Yeah.
M3GAN, it's slow paced at the beginning, but then it gets into it. It's a PG-13 style horror film. Mm-hmm. It's another one where it's not super horrific, honestly. There's a few deaths, not a lot. I think it's a journey that gets there. So it's more of a technology gone wrong kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So it was a pay one because it's still on the universal like demand thing. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, we're gonna do some spoilers.
If you're leaving us now and you've had to deal with a whole bunch of different spoilers, I don't know. If you're leaving us now, we really appreciate you coming around.
Yeah, always do.
I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah. Yeah, we always like being in those little ears. So,
but if you're staying,
guess what? Spoiler time.
I mean, I'm cool for talking about spoilers. I'm just trying to, I guess, what kind of spoilers are there?
Oh, all the spoilers. Oh yeah,
like the ear that got ripped off.
It's spoiler time. It needs to be like Power Rangers. It's spoiler time.
Fantastic.
So. Well, yeah, I think that was probably the best one was when she goes after the boy because
running on all fours.
So when Kiddo asked how it was and he said, well, was there a lot of deaths in it? And I was like, there's only like a couple deaths. Like there's not a lot really.
Yeah.
There's 4.
Yeah.
I think. And I was like, and 3 of those deaths were like, oh, they didn't really deserve it. Like the old lady with the dog, she didn't really deserve to die.
Correct.
She was, I
felt really bad about
careless about her dog, but also she was kind of mean, but she didn't do anything that made me go like, that bitch needs to die.
No.
Right?
Well, I felt really bad for her because with the dog gone and she was going, I felt really sad.
Yeah, it was,
So it solidified M3GAN as being not understanding that
the balance,
variations of human behavior.
The executive CEO never did anything wrong. Mm-hmm. He did not deserve to die. Like he never did anything really wrong or shady.
Yeah.
Right? He was a dick to his...
he was definitely a capitalist.
Yeah. But he wasn't mean to them.
He just was mean to his assistant.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't
not to the point where you deserve to die.
He didn't like, degrade him and like beat him or like anything other than just like and his assistant, selling secrets and stuff, didn't necessarily do anything bad enough to die. But the one death that I felt kind of bad for saying he deserved to die, only because it was a child.
But that kid was an asshole.
And that was what was weird, because it was that idea that he was a terrible child. Mm-hmm. He was mean. He was just bad. And like when he it was creepy when he was taking the shoes off M3GAN, like looking at the feet and like got on her and started like beating her, like looking up her skirt.
I know. I was just like, what are you going to do to it?
So like that was the one death where I was like, when he died, I was like, okay, cool. I can see that. That's the decrease of the surplus population. Right? Yeah. Like, so yes, nice. There's that.
But you gave good reasoning for all of that, so
yeah, because he hurt the little girl, he was picking on people, he was just a bully.
Yeah,
like you could see that kind of that meanness that was there. That was like I could see why she retaliated after him.
Yeah.
There was definitely some cool things, especially when she was like on all fours running through the forest. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was
creepy weird.
Yeah.
The dance thing was definitely unnerving, but the unfortunate nature is that I had seen that in so much media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't so shocking
that it wasn't as intriguing because it wasn't any longer or anything like that. It was just like that scene.
You saw that whole scene except for what happened after.
Yeah,
who she attacked, right?
But it was crazy to think that the AI was so out of control that it was like able to like tap into the building and like.
Yeah, it was a little overpowered. That's
right?
the only thing with it being able to take over everything, or like the call when it mimicked the call and rerouted the phone.
But I think it's the idea is that cautionary, showing how scary AI could be. Like think of
once you let it into the system.
Think of your devices that you have in the house, the home devices. Like they record you, they store your voice. Like they literally.
And every single time I see some of these things, I'm like, maybe we get rid of the dots,
right? Like,
yeah.
You think of those things and like. Skynet is real.
Yeah, and then you're like, and Terminator was
and it's legit. Going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, forget the zombie plague that everyone thinks is going to happen. It's going to just be the machines take over.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yep. Because what are we? It's we're so dependent on that and the technology, and how quickly they weren't able to do anything. And the more we put controls, electronic controls in our houses and our cars and everything like that. It definitely is unnerving for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I think of that. I think of like the more and more we're like, oh, self-driving cars, cool.
Well, and that's what freaks me out. The concept of like a lot of those upgrades that were there about like the backup cameras or the
backup camera makes sense.
Yeah. And even some of those sensors next to you or something like that, or behind, like a lot of the stuff is a legitimate, purposeful thing, but you're still in control about that. But the parallel parking and the self-driving and all that sort of stuff, or the lane changing ones, like that makes me nervous. Mm-hmm. You're also someone who doesn't even like cruise control though, so.
Okay, so there's a story there. Our cruise control at one point in our one car locked in and it just kept accelerating.
On the highway.
I was on the highway and it just kept accelerating. I hit my brakes. Like you're supposed to disengage
you're supposed
it.
To hit the brakes. It's supposed to
disengage. And I turned it off and it came back on and it kept accelerating. So this was a 1990s car. Or no, yeah.
It was 2002.
2000, yeah. But still.
Skynet was real. It is in your car. You had to slam on the brakes on the highway to get it and disengage that way.
Yeah, I went on the off ramp and I just jammed it.
Yeah. So understandably, he has a good reason for it.
So just think of like the internet
coming to life.
GPS controlling your car, and you're like, I'm gonna work when I'm on the highway, and your car says fuck you and takes off. And you're just like, oh, this is cool. Wow, how did we get to 150? What up? And you're just, doomsday plowing down the highway as the AI is up there laughing at you going, stupid human.
Exactly.
Like, it's almost even like we laugh at like Fast and Furious when they can control all the cars because they're all got computer chips in it. But it's like, then you think about that and you're just like, man.
Yep.
Think of like how like right. It's terrifying, but like we're gleefully running through it. This has become like a cautionary doomsday apocalypse episode. A cautionary like what it could do. And like that, like we're okay, like we watch Westworld and like most people that I've heard that watch Westworld weren't like, wow, that sounds dangerous. I'd never go to a theme park with robots. They're like, fucking yeah, robots.
The next step in animatronics, man.
Right, like, man. And like businesses and corporations are like, wait, we don't have to hire people to do stuff now? We could just have robots and AI run our theme parks? This is amazing.
Yeah.
Because we all know how people are good at doing lineups without actual people around. Can you imagine robotic people or just a sentient voice being like, please walk patiently to your next destination? It's not going to happen. It's going to be pure chaos.
Oh, okay. Breathe. So M3GAN, There was a few times with the little girl, like I totally understood why she was attached to M3GAN, but I also wanted to slap her across her face and being like, bitch, wake up.
Because she wasn't dealing with her problems.
How are you okay with this? Like, you're so attached. But again, as I understand psychologically wise, it was the thing that was comfort for her in a very terrible situation. And not having that support. So I was so happy though when that spell was broken that she was able to then make that connection to her aunt and realizing that M3GAN really was hurting people, and that she still had that understanding of right and wrong, and she didn't side with M3GAN. Like, I was afraid that she was just going to be totally broken.
No.
And when she tricked her into stopping and helped take her down, I was so relieved on that. And I was like, okay, good. Like, you're not totally broken completely.
Right. But so much therapy would be needed after that.
Oh, goodness gracious.
For everything.
You're right. She's never going to own a piece of technology again.
Yeah.
One can hope.
Yeah. But there will be M3GAN 2.0 coming.
Oh, they are going to do another one?
Well, this one did so well. It's like the top grossing January film.
Well, of course, just like Terminator, we're never going to learn from it, so we're always going to.
And then we know that M3GAN's downloaded within the device.
Into the device? Oh, yeah, because it showed in the little home network thing. Elsie, yeah. I really appreciated that they didn't actually use one, like so many of them use the Amazon. And then it just constantly wakes up our thing.
Right.
So that was nice that it was different.
But yeah, that so she'll be coming back. Nice. Just like Chucky.
Yep. Never gone. Well, because once you have something like that, and it's just a good concept, though, about all the technology, the viruses and everything that are there, though, that they're really hard to actually get rid of. And, you can make a copy, you can do that sort of stuff. And, yes, there's always a backup. Yeah, exactly. She made a copy, but then we don't know what actually happened with the assistant of whatever he had done.
Where that had been sent away.
Where did he send it? Yeah. Did he send it off to anyone? Is there another company? And that would make sense then.
New company
for new company for that, because it's like, oh, well, they had a PR nightmare and they had a problem, but we can do better because we wouldn't make those same mistakes.
Yeah.
Humans are stupid. And I get caught up in all the fun technology too. By all means, I get it. It's easy to do it. It's easy to see it on a tiny scale and think everything's going to be fine.
Oh, yeah.
And, for the most part, I know it is. But, we haven't barely really had technology. What else is going to happen when we have decades and decades upon decades of it? And really pushing advancements of things. I mean, I don't know, maybe we'll die before we have that much time under our belt with the technology.
Terminator
will happen.
Terminator.
True.
I fully believe that we're not going to get taken out by a virus. We're not going to get taken out by an asteroid. We're going to kill ourselves with technology.
We're going to create our own.
Because we won't know where to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And we're continuing to do that. Because instead of actually saving things or changing things, we're always just looking for the next technological advancement.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and so many of that stuff.
Or we're going to become like the Borgs from Star Trek, where we're going to keep advancing technology and we're going to implant it into our heads and it's going to take us over.
Well, we're already trying to wear it on glasses and implants and everything like that. So, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Why wouldn't we just plug it into our spinal column? There we go.
Yeah.
This has been like scary episode of like terribleness that's happening.
That's what's going to happen. We're just going to get assimilated into like this hive mentality of like
the Matrix?
The Cybermen, right? Think of how long that they've talked about this. Doctor Who's talking about like Cybermen, like 60 years almost, right?
True.
We're going to get adapted into becoming all robots from some AI program that's trying to kill us, like the Matrix. Some will be bred for food, and some will be bred as warriors.
It's all happening, man.
It's terrifying.
Yep.
Throw your ear pierce on the ground and stomp on it. It's trying to take your soul, man.
But on that note, thanks for listening to us. Technology allowing us to share our voice worldwide.
We are not trying to control you, I swear. We are not a robot. That's exactly what a robot would say.
That's funny.
But yeah, M3GAN was pretty good once I got into it. I said like the first like 15, 20 minutes was a little weird for me at least.
Well, because it was before the robot was really there, honestly. Once it really got into her developing.
Yeah, but it felt even more like there was some dialogue and shift and stuff that was better. Like it felt a little cheesy at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it found its footing.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily good for a major picture to have to find its footing within itself, but
yeah,
I still quite enjoyed it. It was goofy fun. Like, in being that it was PG-13, you could probably show it to a lot younger people because there wasn't really anything bad in it.
Yeah.
So, good step into.
That would
horror.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, another episode done. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
And remember, stay rad.